this tutorial, we are going to go through how the M&E officers from the implementing partners can support their users with their accounts. With this, they can actually create accounts, they can disable accounts for maybe end users that have left, and also be able to create for those that have joined or those that don't have accounts for the HIV prevention tracker. So to go straight to the system, let me just show you how this can be done. And remember, this can only be done by the M&E officers for the IPs, not every user or not every user that has the role of M&E officer within the system. These have to be from the IP, representatives of the IP only. That has to be noted. So the process is simple. What you do is go to the prevention portal, and the link is this one up here. Just maybe to make it clear, this is the link for the portal. Let me just make it a bit bigger for visibility. So the link is prevention.mets.or.ug. Once you go to that, it will bring you to this page. This is a landing page for the portal. And it will show you the feeds and updates that are happening. At the moment, we have a poll that is running for people to suggest the best day for us to have the monthly webinars. And this is the poll right now. Most voters were voting via the WhatsApp group, but a few came to the portal as well to make their votes. As you can see, the last Thursday of the month is taking lead at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And that was the same within the WhatsApp group. So hopefully that will be the final date and time for our monthly webinars. So the first page is just about updates, but what you're interested in right now is for the M&E officers to be able to manage accounts. So for every M&E officers, what you'll do is first go to the portal, then go to sign in or sign up. So once you click on the sign in or sign up button, it will bring you to this login screen. And here we have a polite notice. It's asking you to log in using your HIV prevention tracker credentials. So what they mean here is that if you have access to the tracker, you use the same very credentials to log into the portal. So your username and password have to be the same credentials from the tracker. That's how you can get access to the portal. So what you do is log in. I'm going to use one of the accounts that just log in to the same account. So after you log in, the system will automatically detect if your credentials are correct. That is, it will automatically detect your account, confirm it, and create an account for you within the portal automatically. Your name will be picked from the tracker and brought into the portal. So what you only have to do is that after logging in and you're successful, when you see this particular screen with your name on the top right, you have logged into the system. So what you do for us is that get your username and share it with us. So you can just send us the username. It will be the name that will appear down here with an @sign. So that will be your username. What you do is just send us your username exactly as it is here, so that we can give you access to the forms for you to be able to manage the users. So the difference is that if you don't share with us your credentials, we won't be able to give you access to manage users. So as you see, we have a new menu up here, which is user manager. This cannot be seen for those that haven't logged in. But again, even if you have logged in and you can see it, you can't be able to access the forms if you're not an M&E officer from the IP. So this can only be seen or actually manipulated by M&E officers from the IP, the ones that we shall verify within the system. So it's important for you to share with us your credentials after accessing the portal, so that we can give you access to these forms. And we are also working on other particular features and functionalities that will enable you further manage your end users. So what you do is that after logging in as an M&E officer, you'll be able to access these particular features. So the first one is create user. I'll click on it. It will give you this particular form or page here. So it has a note as well. The first one is please search for existing users before creating new ones. So it means that you have to first search within the system. so that you don't create duplicate users within the system. The second one is telling you to fill all the fields correctly before creating the user, as the process cannot be reversed from this interface. So it means that as you're filling in this form, you have to be careful. Fill in all the forms, all the fields in this particular form correctly. Here we have the username, the password, first name, surname, email address, the roles, the groups, and the org units. So all of these have to be filled in for you to create it. If you miss any of them, then you'll have issues with the form. It will give you errors. So it's important for you to first search, confirm that the user is not in the system already before you actually create a new one, before you get into issues, because the process cannot be reversed from this stage. It means you'll have to involve us for us to help you edit the users that you've created, and we are trying to get away from that so that it's easy for you to manage the end users. But please make sure that you follow the instructions to make it simple for all of us. So the third one is telling you that the username format is the first letter of the first name and the full last name without spaces and all in lowercase. That is the format of the username. So an example is that if the user's name is first name and last name, you take the first letter of the first name, which is F, and the last name completely, but all in lowercase, and it comes to F last name, as you can see in the example here. The fourth one is telling you that please use prev@123 as a default user password. This is the default password for every new user. What you do is just share it with them, and what they do is that after gaining access to the system, they have to change the password to whatever they're comfortable with on their end. Then the fifth one is telling you that you can only select a maximum of 5 health facilities per user. So as you add in org units, these are the facilities. You can only select a maximum of 5, as we shall see. Okay, so we are going to start by creating our first user. So the first thing you do is first search for the users that are in the system. So as an example, if I was to create maybe say like a training account, because I'm using a training account anyway, if my user is training or a trainer for this case, I'll first search if they don't exist in the system. And for this example, I can just put in the name that I'm interested in. I can just say maybe training, and if you search in the system, it will just show you every user that has the name training on them, so that you can actually verify that the user doesn't exist in the system before you create a new one. So from this, what you look at mostly is the first name, the last name, then in brackets is the username of that particular user. Then here to show you if they have an email address attached to their account. If it says undefined, it means that user doesn't have an email address attached to their profile. And then the last part of it, it shows you if the user is active or not. You can see some of them have disabled. It means their accounts are actually disabled. So it's important for you to first search in the system so that if they are disabled, we can maybe just reactivate the accounts without having to create new accounts in their name. So after verifying that the user is not in the system for this case, then you come down and put in their credentials. So what I'll do is just create a user. I'll just call them the username. Remember, it has to be the first letter of the first name and the last name completely in lowercase. So I'll just say maybe test user. Let me just use the very example of the names. So if my user was test user, it means I can maybe just call my user T user. Okay. Then the password will be prev@123, like we said. Then the first name is test, the last name is user. Then the email address, you can create an email address. You can say test@prev.mates.or.ug. Then for the rows, there will be a drop down, so you can select from the drop down. For the rows, we only have data entrant and M&E officer. So if your user is a data entrant, you only select that. If your user is both, for those maybe that work at DICs or CSOs, you can double them as M&E officers. But by default, when you select data entrant, the system will pick this particular user group for them, because it's a must field for data entrants to have the PII level access. PII is personally identifiable information, or personal identifiable information in this case. It means for them they can gain access to the users or the client. In this case, they can get access to the client's names, phone numbers, and stuff like that, which is not accessible for the M&E officers in this case. So this is a must. If a user is a data entrant, you must also give them access to PII, because they need to register their names and phone numbers into the system. So for M&Es, you can leave this out because it's not a must. They shouldn't actually be able to access the PII level access. So the user groups are important. What you do is just click on this and then look for your IP name in the list, and that's what you click on. So for this case, I can just take up maybe training as an example. So I put KP training, and then after that I can go to the org units. Remember, we say the org units have to be at a maximum of 5. So you make sure that you select only those that are important for that user. If it's only one, you select only that one. You shouldn't select all the 5 as a must. You only give the facilities that are necessary for that particular user. So for this case, I'll pick maybe the testing facilities, or for my case, we have HIS facility. So it will show you the name of the facility right here. Let me zoom in a bit. It will show you the name of the facility here, and then also it will show you in brackets the sub-county where that facility belongs. So it's important for you to also note the sub-county for the facilities, because some facilities have the same names. So if you pick the wrong facility, data will be entered in the wrong facilities. So you take note of the sub-counties as well in the brackets, so that you don't pick the wrong facility. So I'll pick this and also add a test facility, which is this one here, from the same sub-county for the demo account. So after all this is selected, you make sure that you actually verify the information, the username, the password, the first and last name or surname, the email address, the rows, the groups, and the org units. So as you can see, if I try to add more than 5 right here, let me just do it practically. Right now, because there are already 5, if I try to click on this particular field here, or within the particular field, to show that you can only select 5 items. So you can't go beyond this. Well, that's why it's important for you to only select the ones that are crucial or vital for that particular user. So for this case, if you want to delete any of these, you just click on the X button right here besides the name for you to remove that facility if you don't want it for that user. So I'll just click on this to remove. This is the one I want, so I remove that, so that I only stay with the demo facilities. So once I'm done, I'll just click on create user, and the system will tell you that user has been created successfully. As you can see in here, if there is any error, like we said earlier, this will give you an error message. But now when it says successful, it means the user can actually go to the tracker and log in. So I can just go to my tracker now by clicking on this, go to tracker, just to show you that it has actually worked. I'll go to tracker and log in as that user that we've just created. This was T user, that was the username, and the password was prev at 123. So when I try to log in now, it will actually give me access right away. It's that instant. So then I can just clear my cache as a new user, go to maybe track capture if I want to enter data. If I do that, it will directly take me to the org units that were assigned to my account, as you can see right here. So it was only these 2, and if there were 5, all the 5 will be displayed in the list as well. So right now I can start with creating my clients. As you can see right here, I can go back to my list, look at the previously entered records by other users, and start managing my data right away. So it's that simple for you guys, and please make sure that you follow the instructions. And remember, this is only for the M&E officers from the implementing partners that can only do this kind of user management. Please take a note on that, and hopefully I'll see you again on the next one. Thank you so much.